What if I told you the secret to achieving your biggest goals isn't more strategy, hiring more experts, or better time management? Now, most team leaders and business builders I work with are doing everything right, but they still feel like they're just barely treading water. They're checking all the boxes, they're holding it all together, and they're overworking themselves because they love their mission and they love their work. But there's this very obvious gap between the results that they're getting and the results that they've been seeking. And they've been feeling so drained that they don't think they have it in them to push any harder. But it is so easy for us to forget that we don't create results from what we want. We create results from beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. Okay? Stay with me. When identity, beliefs, and daily behaviors are aligned with business is hard, leadership is hard, stress is inevitable, burnout is always going to come back like a boomerang. And your goals, including how you want to feel in this life every single day, can start to feel out of reach. So once we align our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions with the version of ourselves who already has sustainable, energizing success, that's when the results come faster, easier, and without the constant overwork. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a proven process to achieve your goals and prevent burnout. And this is very practical identity shifting for empowered women leaders. So I used to think I could just hustle all the way to the finish line with every single goal that I was chasing, that I could handle sprint after sprint after sprint. And I genuinely believed that if I just stayed disciplined and I continued to hustle for long enough, eventually it would all pay off and I'd create the success that I really wanted. But here's what actually happened. I built a business from the ground up. I raised capital, I led teams, and I successfully ran myself and my business into the ground. So in my mid-20s, I landed in the hospital from pushing too hard for too long. Neurologists were basically telling me that my brain couldn't handle constant pressure and stress, that I'd damaged it and I would likely end up disabled, and that stress would accelerate that timeline. And at first, I thought this burnout plus health crisis was a sign that I needed to take a yoga break a couple times a week. But what I actually needed was a business goal that was properly aligned with the things that I wanted to be spending my time doing, and an internal identity that matched the goal and the person that I was trying to become. One that loved her work and could actually have the energy to change the world. One that could actually have sustainable success and have the energy to be the kind of mom she wanted to be in the same chapter. So it wasn't until I decided that I was a woman who could lead with clarity and have sustainable success that everything around me started to shift. And now I work 30 hours a week because as a mom of two little ones, I don't really have more time available than that. And those 30 hours, 9:30 to 3:30, 5 days a week, are the most productive and energizing hours of my career. My clients are achieving career and business breakthroughs without burning out. And I finally feel like I'm living in alignment with the leader that I deeply wanted to become. All right. So I don't just set better goals now. I embody the identity that makes those results inevitable. So I'm excited to show you how to do the same. So let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover today: why your identity determines your reality, how to kickstart your identity shift, how to identify and release anything that has actually been holding you back, and the final essential ingredient to make all of this possible. And then I'll give you an aligned action step for this video. So, why does your identity determine your reality and your results? That's a big statement, right? Let's break it down. I know you're very practical, very realistic. Let's break this down. The process to manifest results or create outcomes as easily and sustainably as possible looks like this. Your thoughts shape your beliefs, which influence your behaviors, which create your results. All right, so I'm going to say that again because it's foundational to everything else in this video. Your thoughts create and shape your beliefs drive your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results, right? I know you know that your behaviors create your results. So you already know what thoughts are, but what exactly are beliefs? Just to be crystal clear, beliefs are thoughts that you've repeated so many times, consciously or unconsciously, that your brain accepts them as truth. They become the mental shortcuts that your brain uses to filter reality, make decisions, set boundaries, and predict what's safe or possible. So this is where identity comes in, because your beliefs shape your identity, and your identity drives how you show up, how you lead, how you set boundaries, how you make decisions, how you respond to pressure, and whether or not you burn out. So you can achieve results without believing. Let me say this again. You can achieve results without believing in yourself, but it is way harder and way less enjoyable and way less sustainable. So I think so many of us have been there, right? In those positions of trying to out hustle our imposter syndrome. But that is force. That's not flow. We can't long-term out hustle our imposter syndrome. We need to get rid of it. So here's the neuroscience to back this up. Our reticular activating system acts like a filter in our brains, constantly scanning for evidence to support dominant beliefs and identity. So if you believe you're always behind, not doing enough, your brain is going to find proof of that all day long, even if it's not objectively true. So this is why so many women leaders stay stuck in the cycle of overwork and burnout, because the identity is still rooted in old patterns, in stress, in people-pleasing, in perfectionism, in over-delivering, in imposter syndrome, and in survival mode. So a lot of women especially try to change their actions without ever upgrading their identity, and then they wonder why they feel so drained, even if the reward does start to come. So if you see yourself as the overwhelmed, stressed out, overworked, hustling woman that needs to prove herself, you're going to subconsciously act in ways that prove that identity to be true, no matter how many new habits or planners or time blocking tools you try to use. So your mind is always looking for evidence to confirm the story that it believes about you, about your life, about your reality. So when you shift your identity and start embodying the version of you who already has the results that you want, the energy that you want, the personality, the way of showing up, your behaviors and your boundaries are going to begin to change automatically, and everything about your energy and how you show up in each moment changes. So that's when it starts to feel like alignment instead of effort. All right, so how can we actually do this? We need to stop thinking like the old version of ourselves and start being the new version of ourselves, the empowered version of ourselves who already has the life that we want, the energy that we want, the emotions that we want every day. So those can feel like fluffy statements. How do we actually do that? So now that you understand why your identity determines your reality, let's break down exactly how to shift your identity so you can step into the version of you who already leads with clarity, with confidence, with sustainable success. So there's a quote that I love that sums this up. What got us here won't get us there, right? We can't create new results with the same self-concept, the same beliefs that created the old results, the old life. So if we want to create results that we've never had, or create results from a place of less force and more flow, less hustle and more focused, clear discipline in our businesses, in our health and leadership, or in just our personal lives, we have to become someone we've never embodied before. So that doesn't mean becoming an entirely different person. It means leveling up. It means returning to our most empowered, aligned, authentic selves and leading from that place. So here's how to kickstart that shift. This is a 6-step process, and I want it to be simpler than that, but there are layers to this. So step 1, get clarity on your future you identity. Okay, so start by asking, who is the version of me who already has the result I desire? How does she think? What does she believe about herself? What does she think about her time, her capacity, her worth? How does she carry herself and make decisions and set boundaries and communicate and lead? All right, so really paint the picture. What does her day look like? How does she handle pressure, joy, rest, money, conflict? All the things. Clarity is a superpower because you can't become what you can't define, what you can't visualize. So step 2, notice where the old you still runs the show. Okay, so bring awareness to subconscious patterns, keeping you tied to your current reality. And we can do this by asking ourselves, what fears or stories am I still reacting from? What behaviors are still rooted in people-pleasing and perfectionism or self-doubt? And a lot of women leaders don't realize they're still living out identities that were formed in stress and survival and burnout, not in strategy or self-trust. So the truth is that you can't become an empowered version of yourself while staying loyal to the thoughts and behaviors and coping strategies that created the overworked, burnt out version of you. So awareness really is the beginning of this shift. Okay, so step 3, activate the act as though principle. which is backed by neuroscience. So this is where identity work becomes powerful and brain-based. So the principle is this: if you want to become the woman who already has what you desire, who has sustainable success, who has that beautiful ability to lead with calm confidence, start acting as though it's already true. Okay, so this isn't fake it till you make it, it's train it till it feels true. And it's grounded in neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Okay, so when you act as though you are already her, even in small everyday ways, you're going to start firing new neural pathways that support the identity shift. So think of it like this: the more often you think, speak, decide, and move like the empowered version of you, the more natural that identity becomes, until eventually it's your default operating system. Okay, step 4, rehearse your new identity every single day. This is how we make the shift stick. You're not just thinking about her, you're practicing being her. So simple daily tools to begin to do this are affirmations from her perspective. I'm a calm, confident leader who honors her time and energy. Visualization, seeing yourself leading your team or running your business or moving through your day as her. And then additional embodiment practices: dress, speak, walk, and move like her. You can do journaling prompts, so asking yourself, how would she approach this day? What would she choose in this moment? I am empowered now. What am I going to do today? So you can even have fun with it in everyday life. So answer questions with "new me would say," or "that's not aligned with who I'm becoming." And over time, small rehearsals create real shifts in your self-concept and in your nervous system. Step 5, make micro choices from her energy. Now, to bring this into real-time decision making. So throughout the day, pause and ask, okay, what would the empowered version of me do in this situation? What's the choice that matches my best energy, my priorities, my clarity? So whether it's what time to stop working, or how to respond to a message, or how to show up in a meeting, you are going to practice that alignment over old autopilot patterns. So these are micro decisions that are going to compound. And before you know it, you're not just acting like her, you are her. All right. So step 6, surround yourself with evidence and energy that reinforces this shift. This part truly is non-negotiable. So you're becoming a new version of yourself, and you really need your environment to support that. So ask, what content, conversations, relationships, and spaces reinforce the identity I'm stepping into? What drains me, or what pulls me back into old patterns? Be ruthless with your inputs. Protect your energy like a woman who already has everything that she desires. That's what identity leadership looks like. So to recap, identity isn't something you wait to shift until after the results come. It's something you shift first and the results follow. And your brain, your body, and your environment are all going to get on board as you keep choosing to be the new empowered version of you, until it no longer feels like a stretch. It just feels like you. And here's the part now that we all love to resist. Okay, so how to identify and release what's been holding us back. Or another way to say it, how to intentionally program out limiting beliefs. I want to call out that I have totally been that woman more than once, saying, no, I had a good upbringing, no major trauma, I don't have limiting beliefs. As soon as I was willing to dig a little bit deeper, I realized that limiting beliefs are deeply programmed into the world around us, and no one gets through life without limiting beliefs sneaking in there. So let's talk about the invisible forces that can keep us from our best lives. Because no matter how aligned our goals are, or how clearly we've defined the future version of ourselves, we can't become the most empowered version of ourselves while still carrying around beliefs that contradict that image of ourselves. So a lot of the beliefs driving our thoughts, feelings, and actions were not consciously chosen, right? They were absorbed from childhood, culture, from schooling, from past trauma, or even a startup or a business that you've worked in. So the great news is, just because we didn't choose these beliefs doesn't mean we can't reprogram them. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Erica, isn't focusing on limiting beliefs just giving them power? Isn't this assigning blame? Shouldn't I just be focusing on what I want instead? I love that thought process. However, you can only change what you're aware of, and your subconscious is very sneaky, and it's going to bury disempowering beliefs so deep that you'll swear they don't exist. I truly was someone who used to think I didn't have limiting beliefs. And let me just say this with love and clarity. If you are living in a world that thrives on control, fear, and overachievement, as We all have for a long time. We've picked up limiting beliefs. So let's walk through how to spot, question, and reprogram beliefs for good. So step one, identify the limiting belief. So we can't shift what we haven't spotted. We need to ask ourselves, what belief is keeping me small, stuck, or scared right now? What thoughts come up as I imagine achieving this goal? What stories do I keep telling myself about what's realistic for me? Here is a very helpful exercise. Imagine, especially for those of us that have had a little bit of pride and believe that we are super empowered already. Imagine telling your biggest, boldest goal that you've ever had to the most pessimistic person you know. What reasons would they give for why this is not possible for you? And now flip it. Are any of those thoughts secretly living in your mind? They might be. Just get them on paper. Even if you don't think you're thinking them, get them on paper, because awareness breaks their power. Step two, question the belief's validity. So now we take our power back. We need to ask, is this belief 100% true? Or could it just be familiar? Where did it come from? Has it actually served me or held me back? And a lot of breakthroughs can happen in this step. Step three, reprogram with new empowering beliefs. So it's time to rewrite the narrative. Here, we replace each limiting belief with one that aligns with your empowered identity. So here are a few examples that I know were unintentionally programmed into my brain at some point. I have to struggle to be successful, right? Success comes, we replace this then, and again, the limiting belief was I have to struggle to be successful, okay? The belief then becomes success comes faster when I'm aligned and energized. A disempowering belief can be, oh, I'm not disciplined enough, or I haven't worked hard enough yet to earn this. And the belief can become, I trust myself to take consistent, sustainable action. My results are coming. A limiting belief is, oh, we don't have enough money. The world is getting too expensive. That can become, I will always have enough, right? The media, there are many places where we can find evidence, if we choose to, of the world becoming more and more and more and more expensive, right? If you can ground yourself in, okay, I will always have enough, you are always going to find ways to have enough. You don't have to know the how, just know that it's always possible. So why is this process important? Because our brains are wired for repetition and pattern recognition. So the more often we repeat a new belief and look for evidence that it's true, the more natural it becomes. Step four, reinforce the new belief with repetition and emotion. Okay, so now we're going to anchor it into our subconscious. Everyone has their preferences with brain reprogramming tools. We've mentioned some already. So here are a few of the common ones. Visualization. I personally use visualization every single day. You can find great visualization meditations on Spotify and YouTube to prompt these thoughts. But picture yourself living from your new belief, your new energy, your new daily reality, as though it's already your truth. What does sustainable success look like and feel like in your life? Affirmations. Speak the empowered beliefs out loud like you mean it, with conviction. That can feel uncomfortable at first. It is absolutely worth it. It feels uncomfortable at first. It feels weird. It does pay off. Just keep going. Journaling, write from the voice of the empowered version of yourself. And remember, during each one of these strategies, to feel the emotion behind the empowered belief. Okay, I promise that this is going to get easier and easier every time you do it. It's okay if it's uncomfortable or challenging at first. Your nervous system is going to learn through emotional intensity. Okay, so the more that you can start to embody and feel the feelings that you actually want to feel every single day, what you actually want to believe, what you actually want to create in your life, the faster things are going to shift. Okay, repetition plus emotion equals permanent reprogramming. Right? If I were to summarize all of this, the entire video in one line, repetition plus emotion equals permanent reprogramming. That's how you create a new identity. Okay, that's how beliefs become your new default. New beliefs become your new default. Step 5, take small aligned action to prove it to yourself. So this is how we seal the deal, right? We're still living in this current reality. So we need to ask ourselves, what would I do today if I already believed this were my new reality, if I believed in sustainable success as my new truth, and then go do those things. So even if it's something small, because every single aligned action, every single action that you take tells your brain, oh, this is who we are now. This is our reality. And over time, our new belief is going to become automatic. It'll become a habit. It'll become identity. It'll happen naturally. So here's the bottom line. You can't hold an empowered identity and a disempowering belief at the same time. I will say that again. You can't hold an empowered identity and a disempowering belief at the same time, okay? One is always going to cancel the other out. So if you want to embody the future you, the empowered version of you, you've got to intentionally program out the beliefs that don't belong to her, okay? This is where the real transformation happens, not just in what you do, but in who you are becoming. Okay, so you've upgraded your beliefs, you've changed your behaviors, you're showing up like the version of you who already leads with alignment and sustainable success. Now in the space between deciding what you want and doing all the work, practicing and receiving the results, there's one final ingredient that makes it all inevitable. You need faith. Okay, I don't mean blind optimism. I mean grounded, quiet confidence that's going to tell you, this is already my reality. It's already mine. The result is just materializing. Okay, so burnout happens when we try to force results, when we overthink, we overwork, and we overcontrol because we don't trust the process. We need to trust the process. So faith allows us to lead from power and not pressure. Faith is what helps you hold your vision steady before the evidence shows up. And that's what keeps your energy clean, calm, and consistent. Okay? So think of it like this. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every single day to check if it's growing. You water it, you nourish the soil, you trust the process. Every goal has a gestation period. Just like nature, just like pregnancy, just like building a business. Okay? You don't demand fruit from a tree before the roots are ready. And yet, so many women leading teams and building businesses sabotage their own success by constantly checking, doubting, pivoting out of fear because they can't see the results yet. But here's the truth. Progress is happening underground. Faith is what keeps you grounded while the evidence is still invisible. Okay? We are all impatient. Okay? We live in an immediate gratification world. We're all impatient. When you want to doubt yourself and your progress, just remind yourself, the evidence is invisible, but my results are materializing, okay? Faith keeps your energy aligned even before the results arrive. Faith says, I'm already on the path. I'm not behind. This helps you stay in the vibration of trust and peace, which attracts better outcomes with less effort, okay? With faith, we're going to stay consistent even when it looks like nothing is happening. We're going to keep showing up like the woman who knows it's coming, okay? Faith lets you release control and stop micromanaging the how and the when and focusing on alignment and on our energy, not on obsession or fear. And ironically, these are the things that bring the results in faster. So faith also regulates your nervous system, and when you believe things are working out for you, your body gets to relax and you get to enjoy the journey more. You make better decisions, you stay emotionally steady, and you actually have fun with it because your energy isn't tied to when it happens. There's no attachment to that timeline. It's anchored in the belief that it's all going to work out. Faith really amplifies the power of your beliefs. As Napoleon Hill wrote, all thoughts which have been emotionalized and mixed with faith begin to translate themselves into their physical equivalent. Okay, so that means that when your thoughts and your identity are fueled by faith and not fear, you're going to create a magnetic field for success. Okay, here's the formula. Your beliefs are aligned with your future identity, your behaviors will reinforce that identity, and your faith is going to hold that vision steady while your reality catches up. That's how you create results that feel as good as they look. Okay, that's how you shift from burnout to sustainable success. That's how you lead and make an impact without losing yourself in the process. Now, if you're ready to stop chasing goals in a way that is exhausting, in a way that is burning you out, and start aligning with results that empower you, I've got something powerful for you. If you join my free Sustainable Success newsletter at the link below, you'll get my Identity Shift Goal Setting Guide for women leaders. It's designed to help you anchor into your new self-image and achieve more by doing less. Or if you want a more personalized walkthrough of this identity workbook, a free clarity chat using the link below. Let's shift your story, your strategy, and your success together. Remember, you're not here just to survive the pressure of leadership, the pressure of building a business. You are here to thrive in alignment with the woman you're becoming, the one that can change the world one day at a time. Your next level success isn't about doing more, it's about becoming her. And the moment you shift your identity, your energy, your focus, your behaviors, and your results will start to follow. So here's your reminder. You already are the woman who gets to live the life she's been dreaming of. You just have to start living like it. Now, if you're willing, drop a comment below with your new identity mantra. I am the woman who gets to have sustainable success. I am the woman who gets to achieve better results by doing less. And let's reinforce this together. I am so excited for your next level. I'll see you in the next video.